Hello class, today we're going to demonstrate the blow dry procedure. I just shampooed my client and I'm towel drying her hair just a little. I'm going to drape her first. I actually would have already had her draped at the shampoo bowl, but I had to redo it, so now I'm doing it at my station. Remember, when you're just doing the blow dry shampoo, you don't have to use the second towel, but a lot of times you might need one, and it's okay to put one there for the drips. And that's probably what I'm going to do, just to catch the water, because the water just runs out of the mannequin here. I'm going to start at the ends of the hair, working my way up to the top with a wide comb. It just seems to work better for me. Their hair tangles pretty bad, so if we do it, you start at the bottom. And even on your clients, some are tender-headed and you want to use the bigger tooth comb so it goes through your hair a little bit easier. When you're doing the blow dry, you're going to towel blot the hair, kind of squeeze the moisture out of the hair. At first at the shampoo bowl, and then when you get to your station, you can continue to kind of squeeze it. And I'm talking like this. Instead of rubbing it together, you just want to squeeze the water out. And they tangle. Try not to tangle very well. Once you get them there, you get them combed out, brushed out, get the tangles out, not to use a spray and conditioner or leave-in. You're going to blot it again, making sure you get a lot of the moisture out. When you start doing your blow dry, you're just going to work the hair around, lifting it up. You're going to dry out about 80% of the moisture out of the hair. If it's real curly hair, you're still going to try to dry it out next to the scalp somewhat, and then you would start down here at the bottom when you're doing the more flatter styles. And it's easier if your hair is really thick and you're trying to get it real smooth and you're doing like the flat iron. So I'll do the flat iron kind of back here, and when I get up here, I'll show you the thermal curls on the top and on the sides. But I'm going to use this jelly. And I only use a small amount. Most of our products that we have now are very concentrated. So you kind of work your hands together and you can kind of work it through the hair. So we're working it through the hair. And then I'm going to brush it through with a vent brush. The vent brush is normally the brush I use if you're wanting to get the hair dried out kind of quickly, because the air flows all the way through. Y'all may already know that, but I believe I went over this and showed you the concentrator and the difference. So if I turn this on, you can see when I do this, how the hair is just kind of, the air just goes everywhere. And it's okay to kind of get some of the moisture out with it off. But when you're going in and you're doing a lot of like smoothing and your air forming, you're going to use the concentrator. And I'll show you the difference. When I put it on, you can see the difference. Because it's going to just concentrate the air like to one area. Oops. And then you can turn it. So if you're going to be coming down the hair this way to get it smooth, you can turn it this way. You know, if you're going back on the sides, you can just turn it that way. So, it's okay to use it on there just to get the moisture out. depending on the thickness of their hair, you could use a different brush if you need to. Like they have the wider bent brushes. They're kind of like a tangle brush. Those work good. So you want to get, I'm going to take that off because I think it might be a little quick. Go ahead and so I got a lot of the moisture out, and I may go back and do a little more up in the very top. And I'm going to go ahead and get me a section right here on the bottom, about a 1-inch parting size, like from the hairline up. That's just, you know, a good amount of hair to kind of work with on this. So if I don't want it to have a lot of volume, I'm going to take and just do it more straight down. If I want it to have volume there, I'm going to be lifting it. So anytime you lift the hair, like on the top where I was lifting it up, it's going to make her have a little more volume there at the base of the hair. It's going to give it a little more fullness look. Back here in the back, you can use a vent to do this with. If you're going to go back and flat iron, if her hair is real curly, you're going to have to use the flat brush, the wide brush. I don't have one. Do you have one right there? Can I borrow yours? Thank you. This one, if their hair is really, really curly, I mean, you can get kind of the same look with the bent brush, but you take it, and you just kind of go down to this. This makes the hair just go straight on there. This is still going through as you go up to dry some of the other moisture out. But this one, of course, the air can't go through it, so. You want to always keep the blow dryer moving, and you want to keep it going the direction that the hair cuticle goes. So if I'm drying it under and I've got it here, see how it's going to make the hair look more flyaway? See how the top is ruffling up? If you have it here, you just get a whole lot better look. See how it does? This allows me to go in and take that concentrator and get it right on that certain area. Any questions? I can do another little drop down section. Sometimes if your hair is real thin, you can do the wider sections. Ours, you know, I already got that bottom dried out, but this actually from where it was parted is still only about a 1-inch section up from there. ever like put it right on their head because it'll heat up their scalp. So you're basically just directing the hair down. I kind of just do this. The hair will lay right over it. Just want to always keep it moving because some blow dryers get extremely hot. And you don't want to burn their scalp, or their hair. All right, so this lady, she just wants it all turned under. She wants the sides to go back. So it just really depends on what the client is gonna want. She, right here on this back area, I'm gonna show you how to use the flat iron. And that's just like if you were doing a real straight style. I'm going to show you that back here on the back side. I just clip this up so that it's out of my way pretty much, so that I can go in there and I'm going to try to find my comb. There it is. It's not supposed to be on. So, this is the comb you want to use because it's kind of heat resistant. It goes through the hair really easy because the teeth are spread out so much. When you're doing the flat iron, you just want to always make sure, like this is a 1 inch wide, so you want your base to be that 1 inch, kind of like the roller placements. So if you look at the bottom of the hairline up to that parting, it's about 1 inch. So I can go in here, and when you're doing the flat iron, if you want to give it fullness at the scalp, kind of hold it out from the head like this, and you kind of go like this. And so you're warming up the base, and it'll say establishing a base sometimes in our books. And see how I'm kind of lifting it out from the head, and I'm just kind of turning it under a little to make it straight. You can see how it's full right there. On this side, I'm going to show you how, if I just want it to be hanging straight. So the rule is like no wider than 3 inches for your base area. And then, you know, if you're using a 1 inch, if it was a 1/2 inch, my base would be a 1/2 inch. And so with this one, I'm just going to come in, and I'm not going to give her any lift on that one. I'm just going to go straight down. And so if you look here on that one, and you probably can already tell, that one is really flat there because I didn't lift it from the head. This one has a little more thickness look, more volume, where it kind of looks thicker right there in the scalp. So it all depends on the direction of the, like on this side, I could get a second piece right here. I'm going to comb through the hair really good. I'm going to do it more flat, so I'm coming in here like that. And then on this one right next to that, I'll show you again, you know, on the lifting it out from the head. But that's what gives you like more volume, is when you take it and you kind of hold it out from the head. But you can kind of see the difference when I'm going through it. How this one has more fluffy look at the base, and that one is more slick. So you would just work your way up. Throw with my comb. So then I would drop down another 1 inch section. You just go through the hair and you just pick up hair, the flat iron. Then I have some areas that are going to look really good and some that are not going to look so good. So I'll show you right here on this. You want to move it really slow. Like I said, I only have this one on like a medium temperature. You got to watch out for the ears. Just going to go straight down. So now I can just go to the very top of that other section. You can put a little bend at the end if you want. A little bump look. But you can definitely see a difference there when you take that hair and you pull it out and you have it a little more fluffier. This one I'm going to elevate it slightly, and I'm going to have a little more fullness. So it all depends on, you know, the different projection of the hair, depending on, you know, that final look and how it smooths down. And then over here, I'm just gonna, just so you can see the differences right here together. But you can see how that one's really close to the head and smooth. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in here. I'm going to show you the thermal curls. And I'm not going to do that bang area yet. I'm just going to do from the crown because I think it's easier when you first are doing this, especially with this other iron that everybody doesn't like, the Marcel. You know, when you do the Brazilian blowouts and those type of procedures on the hair, you can't even put it in a ponytail or anything for several days after that. When you do the procedures where you do the flat iron through it with the product in there, the smoothing, you can't even they can't even put it in a ponytail or anything, so it leaves a lot of grooves. So that's why this area I'm gonna clip it up, but see where that one was clipped, you see the little marks in it. So okay, on your thermal procedures, I'm gonna use this one. You're gonna always test it on either a white piece of paper, or you can use a perm paper. You can use a white towel. You can use anything light in color, because if it's too hot, it'll burn the paper or it'll burn. So you just kind of put it in here and you just kind of clamp it down to test it. You can see it kind of smoking a little, but it didn't turn my paper brown, so it's fine to use it. I don't have it all the way up really hot. I have it on the medium setting because these get super hot, super hot. So what you're gonna do is these irons are 1 inch around diameter. So that means that your base there again is just like the roller placement for rollers or permanents. Anything that you're gonna put on the head, like the thermal curls. All your bases have to be kind of consistent with the size. So I'm going to say this is about a 1 inch from the top parting to the bottom. And you can measure it until you get a feel for it, but if I do it like that, it's pretty close. You wouldn't want to use a real skinny parting on a tool that size, because you would be there all day curling their hair. So I'm going to show you how to put your comb in there. So you don't want it any wider than 3 inches, and you want it, the diameter of your tool is your base parting this way. And I can explain that a little bit better. Every time when you're using these, even the thumb kind, this one is a little confusing. You want this movable portion of the thermal iron, the clamp part, to be on top of the hair. And you want to start here and you want to slide it up. And that's called establishing a base. And so you're going to warm up that base. I'm going to go halfway out and I'm going to make one turn. You see my ends are sticking out. I'll slide it up and I wrap it one more time. Then when I start moving this, those ends are going to feed in there. If I go too many turns, it gets too tight and I can't move the clamp part. So with it down like that, I'm continuing to do that. So what it's doing is it is feeding those ends in and making a complete curl. It makes a complete curl. You want the ends of the hair to make a complete curl like that. See that little curly cute thing? And so, oops, it's gonna be in my way. Hold on. Let me get it close. I've had this happen before. So, what I was gonna say is, I held this one at, that's 90, remember, y'all learning cutting now, so this is 90 degrees, this is below 90 and above 90. So, if I want it to sit right on the base, I'm gonna do above 90. I'll show you that again. So, and then I'm gonna show you this one, and I'll show you the next one. So here's this. So when you put this clamp on, you don't want to go toward the head. It's gonna make a line on the hair. So you want it to kind of make a smooth area. And then I'm gonna run it up like that. Flip it around. Keep your comb in your hand. It keeps you from grabbing the end of that iron. As long as you got that comb in your hand, you're good. Right now I'm working those ends in. If you want to see them, I can show you up close, but they kind of feed into the curl. And then I'm going to put this down to protect the client from the heat. And I'm going to kind of keep clicking. And I'm going to take it and I'm just going to pull it off like that. And then that way, that hair is really hot, so I don't have to even touch it. Okay, let's see. And I'm just going to clip that one right there, out of my way. So, like I said, it's no wider than 3 inches. Even though your iron is that long, you only want your curl to be no wider than 3 inches and have a 1-inch base. So, I think that's kind of about. This one, I'm gonna do it with a 90-degree angle, and it is gonna be half off base. And you can see the stain coming off her hair. It's just because she still was not dried out. So you can see it disappearing. Now I'm going to roll it down and make it a little bit tighter. And then I'm just going to leave it sit there. So while it's cooling down, if you go ahead and you start pulling on it, it's actually going to relax that curl some. So it may not stay as tight. And I'm just gonna clip it. Normally you really wouldn't have to, but just so it's up out of my way. But when that one is all the way down, it's sitting half off the base right there. I'm just clipping them so you can kind of see. This one, I'm gonna go in and do it off base just so you can kind of see. And then, let's see. Do y'all have any questions about this? This one, I'm going to drop it below the base, so I'm going to kind of work it. I know y'all got a question. Somebody else has a question.
Okay, is there a reason that you're doing the curls horizontally versus vertically?
Yes. Well, I'm just doing this straight down, and I'll show you. I'll show you what it looks like. It'll just make just a real pretty fluffy curl when you just do them like this. You see how that length of that hair is making it look like a spiral, okay? So if your bases are square like this, you want to go straight onto it. Now, if it's on the side of the head and you want to do it back, I'll show you how to do that. Or if you're doing spirals. Can y'all see back there? Y'all can come up here if y'all need to. So there again, I'm not going to have it more than 3 inches. So from there to there, I'm not sure. Let's see about right there. It was a very good question because I have to show students because they will part it this way, long ways, but they might go into it this way. Well, what happens is you get a different amount of curl there and on the top. So with it up and down like this, let's say I want to go toward her face. I wouldn't want to get a real skinny piece right there. So I'm going to do it this way. And so if you're doing like a spiral curl or toward the face, this has to be on the top of the direction the curl goes. So if I'm going toward the face, it's going to be on this side over here. If I'm doing just straight down, it's on the top always. So it's still on the top of the curl right here. But I'm just kind of doing it like a spiral. There again, I'm using my comb to help me with this hair because it's hot. This iron is hot. Real hot. See, it's tingling. And so then I'm going to work those ends in. I'm going to hold it down and you'll kind of see how it hangs. You have to kind of watch out with these things because that part right there, it gets kind of warm sometimes too. So, but you can see how that made a complete curl. I held it straight out, so that gave me a little bit of fullness right in there. But it made a complete curl. So you want your ends to always finish out the curl. That's one of the things they do check at the state board to make sure you make a complete curl. So I'm going to do this one forward and then I'm going to do the other side back. There's a lot of different ways. Once y'all get used to using it, I'll show y'all some different curls you can make with this to where you can see my pieces there. The direction that you take it to, either left or right, will give you a different result or a different name of a curl. There's one called a figure 8, and I can show it to you one day once you get used to using it. So everything's going toward the face on that one. On this side, I'm going to do it back off the face just so you can see how I'm going to do it. And then once I get through with this, I'll let y'all work on. And you can take one side and do curls if you want, and one side do the flat iron. That way, you know, whichever side it's going to be parted on, you can kind of, you know, get a feel for it. If you use a little bit of the iron and a little bit of the flat iron. But remember on that flat iron, you're wanting to move it slow through the hair. And you want to get those sections the right size. So this feels backwards to me, but you're gonna turn it. I do about halfway out on the hair. And I think your mannequin's hair is kind of long like this one. So now I'm gonna slide it a little bit farther out and make another turn. And like I said, if you get it too tight, when you move your clamp, it won't feed the hair through. But feeding that hair through allows you to get those ends so that those ends have a complete curl out there. See how it makes a complete curl? If it's not a complete curl, the ends will be straight. They won't, the curl doesn't finish it out. That was a good question because if you've got it parted long ways, you wouldn't want to go into it this direction. So if you know, it's still like if I just turn it that way, you're going straight down. And then you just get a different look out of the different curls.
What do they expect to see at state board as far as the curls go?
They want to see, well, you have to do 4 curls. And I don't have my comb in my hand. And so they're going to be watching for you to protect the client's head like this. You do two curls on top of the head and 2 on the side. They're looking for it to be an established curl and that it makes a complete curl and that those ends are curled all the way. That's why I always stress that, because as you're doing them, I can show you. Let me see if I can make one that the ends are not smooth and not down, just so you know what it looks like, where the ends are not completely in there. So let's see. I'm gonna do it this way. And I'm gonna make it, but I'm not gonna get my ends all the way in. And that one still made a curl, but sometimes it'll be a curl and then that part will be straight. If that doesn't make a complete turnaround on that iron, they're straight. So if you don't get them all the way up in there, they'll be straight looking. It's kind of weird because once I do it right, I can't do it the other way. It's like hair cutting. To try to mess up a haircut, it's kind of hard to do that after you've been doing it for all these years. But that just shows you, you know, the different. And so up in here on the top, you've got that one is half off, and that one was, let's see. That one was on base, that one's half off, and that one was like completely off base. But when you brush them out, you kind of see what, you know, this does on the side, of course. It's just gonna kind of be like and because it's so long, if it was shorter hair, it would be just more going back. And then back in here, you can kind of see how those curls are, and I'll take these out, just so you can kind of see how they look. And so then we'll brush them out. You kind of see how they look. But it would just make, you know, curls, nice curls, you know, real pretty curls. And of course that's flat down there, because it was flat iron. And then around the face, because it's so long, you can kind of get an idea. You know, if you wanted to have the you know, the individual curls, you could just go through with product, sort them out, you know, individualize them with like curl defining cream or something like that. That just kind of gives you an idea of, and then of course you see back, I didn't do all of that with the flat iron back there, but you can see the underneath where I did it. I didn't do all of that back there, just the underneath. Any more questions? No? Okay, you can stop that, that'll be good.